Chapter 10, Part 3 of the Legends of the Jews, Volume 4. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. The Legends of the Jews, Volume 4, by Louis Ginzberg. Chapter 10, Part 3. Baruch is one of the few mortals who have been privileged to visit paradise and know its secrets. An angel of the Lord appeared to him while he was lamenting over the destruction of Jerusalem, and took him to the seven heavens, to the place of judgment where the doom of the godless is pronounced, and to the abodes of the blessed. He was still among the living at the time in which Cyrus permitted the Jews to return to Palestine, but on account of his advanced age he could not avail himself of the permission. So long as he was alive, his disciple Ezra remained with him in Babylonia, for the study of the law is more important than the building of the temple. The tombs of Baruch and Ezekiel. The piety of Baruch and the great favor he enjoyed with God were made known to later generations many years after his death through the marvelous occurrences connected with his tomb. Once a Babylonian prince commanded a Jew, Rabbi Solomon by name, to show him the grave of Ezekiel, concerning which he had heard many remarkable tales. The Jew advised the prince first to enter the tomb of Baruch, which adjoined that of Ezekiel. Having succeeded in this, he might attempt the same with the tomb of Ezekiel, the teacher of Baruch. In the presence of his grandees and his people, the prince tried to open the grave of Baruch, but his efforts were fruitless. Whosoever touched it was at once stricken dead. An old Arab advised the prince to call upon the Jews to gain entrance for him, seeing that Baruch had been a Jew and his books were still being studied by Jews. The Jews prepared themselves by fasts, prayers, penitence, and almsgiving, and they succeeded in opening the grave without a mishap. Baruch was found lying on a marble bier, and the appearance of the corpse was as though he had only then passed away. The prince ordered the bier to be brought to the city and the body to be entombed there. He thought it was not seemly that Ezekiel and Baruch should rest in the same grave, but the bearers found it impossible to remove the bier more than 2,000 ells from the original grave. Not even with the help of numerous draft animals could it be urged a single step further. Following the advice of Rabbi Solomon, the prince resolved to enter the bier on the spot they had reached, and also to erect an academy there. These miraculous happenings induced the prince to go to Mecca. There he became convinced of the falseness of Mohammedanism, of which he had hitherto been an adherent, and he converted to Judaism, he and his whole court. Near the grave of Baruch there grows a species of grass whose leaves are covered with gold dust. As the sheen of the gold is not readily noticeable by day, the people seek out the place at night, mark the very spot on which the grass grows, and return by day and gather it. Not less famous is the tomb of Ezekiel, at a distance of 2,000 ells from Baruch's. It is overarched by a beautiful mausoleum erected by King Jeconiah after evil Merodach had released him from captivity. The mausoleum existed down to the Middle Ages, and it bore on its walls the names of the 35,000 Jews who assisted Jeconiah in erecting the monument. It was the scene of many miracles. When great crowds of people journeyed thither to pay reverence to the memory of the prophet, the little low gate in the wall surrounding the grave enlarged in width and height to admit all who desired to enter. Once a prince vowed to give a colt to the grave of the prophet if but his mare, which had been sterile, would bear one. When his wish was fulfilled, however, he did not keep his promise, but the filly ran a distance equal to a 4 days' journey to the tomb, and his owner could not recover it until he deposited his value in silver upon the grave. When people went on long journeys, they were in the habit of carrying their treasures to the grave of the prophet and beseeching him to let none but the rightful heirs remove them thence. The prophet always granted their petition. Once when an attempt was made to take some books from the grave of Ezekiel, the ravager suddenly became sick and blind. For a time a pillar of fire, visible at a great distance, rose above the grave of the prophet, but it disappeared in consequence of the unseemly conduct of the pilgrims who resorted thither. Not far from the grave of Ezekiel was the grave of Barozak, who once appeared to a rich Jew in a dream. He spoke, "I am Barozak, one of the princes who were led into captivity with Jeremiah. I am one of the just. If thou wilt erect a handsome mausoleum for me, thou wilt be blessed with progeny." The Jew did as he had been bidden, and he who had been childless shortly after became a father.